Shana Tova, and welcome to The Alcoholic Rabbi. I'm your alcoholic, and my name is Joshua. This is the third high holiday season that I will have experienced as a sober person, and I'm beginning to notice and observe that the high holidays are very, very closely linked with the 12 steps. And within that, every holiday itself is one or two specific steps of the 12 steps, or a very, very important concept in AA or in the 12 steps that bakes into one of them. So Rosh Hashanah is step 3. Step 3, we became willing to turn our lives and our will over to the care of God as we understood God. God as we understood God is a very, very important caveat in describing this higher power, right? Avinu Malkeinu, Ein Lanu Melech Ata. God, there is no king except you. Now, yes, that does mean when it comes to the King of England or the King of France or the President of the United States' underpants, those people are not the ultimate authority. God is the ultimate authority. That is an important meaning, but it's not the deeper and it's not the most important meaning. The most important meaning is that you are not the king of the universe. Yes, you don't know it, but a lot of the time we do think that we are the king of the universe because we are acting as the arbiter of what should and shouldn't be. We have a certain way that we think we would like things to be and that we think things ought to be. And when things don't be that way, which they inevitably don't almost every time, we get upset. And that's the beginning of the spiritual disease that plagues every addict and alcoholic, and in fact, every human being. It's just that the addicts and the alcoholics need to fix this, or they could very well die of their addiction. So we need to fix the spiritual disease to get the miracle of recovery. And it's just like the high holidays. You've got to do the work for it to get the benefit out of it. So Rosh Hashanah, we say to God, whatever we believe in or don't believe in, that which makes the universe be the way that it is, that's in charge, and I'm not in charge. And that means I have a level of surrender to the way things are, and that means I loosen my vice grip on the universe, trying to force it to do my will. And I gain a little bit of peace and serenity in that way. So that's step 3. What's Yom Kippur? Well, you might guess step 4 and 5. And I think a lot of Jews who know a thing or two about Yom Kippur and who know a thing or two about the steps would say, yes, it's step 4 and 5. Step 4, made a fearless and searching moral inventory of ourselves. And step 5 is admitted to ourselves, to God, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So that sounds like the Al Chet Shechatanu and Avinu Malkeinu, and you confess everything and you're done. It's not that simple. I wasn't asked in my step 4 to write a laundry list of everything I ever did wrong, and thank God, because I would have felt like the south end of a northbound cow if I did. My sponsor asked me to write a list of resentments that I had against everyone that had ever wronged me in any way in my life. And I was to make 4 columns. What did this person, well, who is this person? What did they do? How did that affect me? And where in this resentment am I being selfish or dishonest? That is, of course, the most difficult question to answer. And going through that process of feeling all of those resentments and then having to have the humility to admit that you're somehow wrong in having these resentments, even though what they did to you could be very wrong. So yes, it's a confession, but it's a confession that comes about in a very strange way, because you begin by the wrongs that were done against you. And the confession is that you were wrong to hold on to those resentments for that long. And the byproduct of that is that you end up forgiving a lot of these people. Doesn't mean you forgive all of them, doesn't mean all of them need to be forgiven. It means that you let go of the resentment. And that's certainly the most important piece of this spiritually. One thing that people don't pay a lot of attention to is the ending in the book of Jonah, if they're paying attention to the book of Jonah at all. It's Yom Kippur in the late afternoon. So a lot of people, the fast has them kind of delirious, tired, kind of out of it. But the story in a nutshell of Jonah is that there are these very evil people in Nineveh, and God asks Jonah, a Hebrew prophet who has been attacked by these people, he wants him to go to Nineveh and preach to them. And Jonah knows that if he preaches to them, they're going to repent and they're going to do Teshuva. They'll do this whole spiritual process, and then God will forgive him. And he doesn't want God to forgive them. And he goes and he tries to run away, and he's on the ship and the storm and a whale, and it swallows him, and then he says, I'm sorry, and then the whale spits him out. He goes to Nineveh and he preaches, and the people start to make their confessions and go through their spiritual process of Teshuva, and he climbs up onto a mountain to see what's going to happen to the city, because he really wants God to destroy those people in the end. And of course, God doesn't, because they've confessed. And how does it end? It ends with him having this very childish and immature argument with God, where he basically says, this is why I didn't want to leave, and it would be better if I had never lived. It would be better for me to die than to have lived because of this. And God says, is it really that bad? And he says, yes. And that's the end of the book. It's bizarre. And it's not a happy ending. And it's not a happy ending for any of the people who go through life like Jonah, hanging on to these bitter resentments. Whether you develop an alcohol addiction or a substance abuse addiction as a result of your resentments, or whether your resentments turn into liver cancer, God forbid. Resentments are deadly. So for Yom Kippur, focus on how you can forgive those who you perceive to have wronged you. Because only if you forgive can you expect to be forgiven. Wishing you a meaningful and peaceful and reflecting Yom Kippur, an easy fast, and may we all have a peaceful year. Shana Tova.